I'm just making this as a live stream. It's just easier for me to make a VOD out of it, but then make an edited video. But today I'm basically gonna tell you guys these are four true paranormal stories. These stories, they really happened to me. These are true stories, and they didn't, they weren't stories that people told me. These actually happened to me. So yeah, just sit back and relax, and I'm gonna tell you guys some stories. Let's see. The first, I wrote them down so I don't forget them. The first story. Oh, okay. So, I see some people going in the chat. What's going on, guys? I'll be answering any questions after each story, because I don't want to interrupt the story. But anyway, here we go. I'm not the best at storyteller. I tend to go on and on and on. So here we go. I don't want to get off on a tangent. The first story was when I lived in my parents moved to their first house. When we first moved there, it was a pretty cool. It's like a nice big backyard, and I noticed it was like one of those type of fences that had like holes in it and stuff. So I was just kind of like exploring in the backyard, like when we first moved there, and I hear this little girl on the other side of the fence, and she goes, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" Or not her exact words. She said like hi or something, and I was like, "Oh, hi," and the voice. I noticed that the voice sounded kind of weird, like almost like it was it's kind of hard to explain, but it had like a hollowness to it, or it didn't. It sounded like a person talking, but it had like almost like it was a recording, or something was off about the voice. So I don't know, but I wasn't scared. I was just kind of like, "Oh, how you doing?" I didn't. And then I remember we had like a conversation where she said that she lived next door. Yo, Greasy Strangler in the chat. What's up? Yeah, Pit Vipers. Yeah, those are my favorite sunglasses. There's a bright light so that I have good lighting, so I just, it helps me not get headaches. But anyway, back to the story. So I had this whole conversation with this girl. We were like about around the same age. I must have been around I was 8 years old or something. I was young, So I was having this conversation with this other girl on the other side of the fence. She was like, "Oh yeah, I live here," and we were talking about the neighborhood, and I said, "Oh yeah, I just moved in and all that." So later I told my parents like, "Oh yeah, I met the neighbor girl. She's real nice." And my parents, at some point, they talked to their neighbors like, "Oh, my son's been talking to your daughter," and they said that their daughter died. So they're like, "What do you mean you were talking to our daughter? Our daughter has been dead for years." So apparently I was talking to some kind of ghost girl or something, and I didn't know, But I think when you're younger, it's more like a lot of these. I think all these stories happened when I was younger. I guess when you're younger, it's easier for you to experience like paranormal type things. I don't know why. It's just how it seems. So anyway, that was one of my paranormal experiences. This next story, actually, this paranormal experience happened before this event. This may have been one of the first paranormal experiences. This was when I was staying in Mexico. My aunt used to own actually it was like a school in Mexico. So, but she lived in it. It was kind of I don't know. So we were staying at her house, and even before this happened, I know she paranormal things happening at the house. It was kind of normal. Her house, I don't know if it was haunted or what, but she said that she as well experienced paranormal things there. But I remember one time I was sleeping, and the door. So I was sleeping in the in the little side room, and I couldn't sleep. When I was younger, I had a real hard time sleeping. So I saw the doorknob open. Okay? So the doorknob literally, like, I saw the doorknob turn, open, nobody was there, and then I just saw the door, like, close, like that. And I was like, it happened late at night, and I was like, maybe I just woke up and that happened, because I think I was kind of like groggy, and I wasn't even freaked out then. I was just like perplexed, like, that's weird, like the door literally opened and closed. And I think it did it a few times. And then I just told my mom and my aunt about it in the morning. I was like, hey, your doors are opening and closing by themselves. And they were like, oh yeah. My aunt was like, yeah, but this house is haunted. But it was so weird. Like, it actually happened. What are these comments? Fan Jerry, hey, what's up, Max? Yeah, so that was, I don't know. And then whenever I was in that house, I just kind of, like, you always felt like you were kind of like being watched or something. I don't know. It was just kind of, it was odd, I was going to name this 4 True Ghost Stories, but then I don't know if it was a ghost. I just put paranormal. I thought paranormal was a better fitting title. Okay, now this story, this is one of my favorites, actually. This is a bit of a longer story. And this happened when I was a bit older. I must have been like, I think I was like definitely at least 13. I was a teenager at the time. And this was, man, my eye feels irritated. Hold on a sec. I feel like I have something in my eye. But stick with me here. This is actually a pretty good story. This is probably the best one. Okay. So, this is when I stayed at Hotel del Coronado. Every summer, my family would go to Hotel del Coronado. And this is a hotel in San Diego. And I didn't know this. Till years later, but I guess that's a very haunted hotel. A lot of stuff, paranormal stuff happens there. And so this story, actually, apparently it's a very haunted room there. And I didn't know this at the time, but we were staying right next to that haunted. We weren't staying at the haunted room, but we were staying at the room right next to it. I didn't know that at the time. No, none of us really knew that. But so this was back. I don't know what year this was, but this was back when, when you played with Game Boys and you wanted to play with someone else that had a Game Boy, you actually had to connect the 2 Game Boys together. Okay, this wasn't like, when you could connect through Wi-Fi and all this other stuff. That's how old I am. Back, when I was a teenager, our Game Boys, we played multiplayer with we had to connect the Game Boys together. There wasn't none of this internet stuff that you guys have these days. But so we were staying at the room, and again, I couldn't sleep. I like to stay up late. I'm kind of a night owl. So it wasn't even, I don't even think I remember it being that late. It must have been like, it was like at least midnight, probably maybe 1 or 2 in the morning or something, probably around that time. And I couldn't sleep. Everybody else was sleeping. And I don't know, there's something kind of weird about that instance too, where I'll talk about it later, but they were all sleeping, okay? And I was like, come on guys, it's not even that late. And they all like, oh, let's just go to sleep, we're tired. So like at midnight, I hear this knocking on the door, just like like that, and it kept going, like louder, and it was like do 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 do, and I was like, what the hell is that? I wasn't scared again. I was just like annoyed. Like, what are these? What the hell? Who? I was like, you're in the wrong room, dude. This is our room. You're in the wrong room. And he'd still keep knocking. Do 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 do, do 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 do. And then he started jiggling the doorknob, like shh, like the doorknob was jiggling, shh, like really freaking hard, like he was trying to break in or something. I was like, what the hell, dude? You're in the wrong room. And I looked through the keyhole. There's nobody there. So I was like, okay, That's pretty weird. And I tried waking up my parents and my brothers, and they're all sleeping. I was like, guys, there's someone at the door or something, and he keeps trying to get in. And they're like, don't worry about it. Just go to sleep. And I thought it was kind of weird the way that they just kind of dismissed it, and they were just like sleeping, almost like they were in like a trance or something. Like, I don't want to say that's what it was, but it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, they were just kind of like, all they wanted to do was sleep, which was kind of weird. In the comments, can you show us? well, I'll take questions after the story. I'm getting distracted. Save your question. These questions I'll answer after the story. It's a good story. So I keep, I'm like, dude, I got to do something. So I got the cable that you use to connect the Game Boys together, and I literally tied the cord to the doorknob. It was the kind of doorknob that has a handle, and I was like, I tied it to something so that the doorknob wouldn't jiggle so hard, because whatever entity, whatever was doing it, was jiggling the doorknob that hard, so hard. I thought they're gonna break the doorknob. It was so weird. And then I don't know, he just continued to do it, and I was just like, whatever, and I just kind of laid down and just, I don't know, maybe I went back to playing Game Boy or something, and I just kept yelling, like, you're in the wrong room, dude, leave, dude. And in the morning, I was telling my family about it. I was like, you guys, what was that? That guy was trying to open the door. I was trying to tell them, and they didn't even remember. They were like, what do you, I think I remember telling them the story later, years later, and they don't even remember that. They're like, I don't remember that. What are you talking about? Like, so I don't know if, like, maybe the ghost or something, like, maybe they were in a trance-like state, because all they wanted to do was sleep. They don't even remember that happening. So I don't know. I just thought that was it's an interesting story. I mean, it's true. It really happened. It really freaking happened. What do these comments say? Housekeeping, yeah. Show us the pics of your accident. I want to. I have to look back into my photos, because it's like I gotta find it. Basically, I want to make a whole update video about the accident, but I'll do that at a later date. I have to look for the picture. I'll do that. What do these say? How are you? I'm good, man. What is this channel? I do IRL. I play some video games. I give investment advice. I'm just starting to do more videos where I just tell some certain stories that have happened to me, because I actually have I've had a very interesting life, and I have very interesting stories. So I'm going to start doing more videos where I tell stories. I have one more story for you guys. I thought this was going to take a whole hour. I'm actually going through these stories pretty fast, but I'm a fan of, like, those true scary stories and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do one on my own instead of submitting it to someone else. Like, these stories really happened to me. Why don't I tell them? And I actually have more than 4, but these are just 4 that I wanted to tell. Lameduck is a Dogecoin millionaire. Dude, Dogecoin did very well. I had Dogecoin. I have Ethereum. I have Ethereum. I was actually going to make a whole other video. Well, I'll say this. I'm still going to give one more story, but let me talk to chat for a minute here. Crypto. Oh my God. Crypto is doing really good right now. I was going to make a whole video about my top cryptos for 2021. I got 2 I want to mention. Ethereum and Algorand are my top 2 favorite. Ethereum Classic and Algorand. That's the ones I really like. Do I believe in Jesus? Yeah, I do. I love Jesus. And you know what really helped cement my belief in Jesus and God and all that? Just working in the entertainment industry and realizing all the secret Satanists that are really out there. And I thought, man, and these are people that pretend to be atheists, but really they're not atheists. They're atheists. I mean, they're Satanists. And I figure, man, there's so many people that are Satanists. There's so many people who are against Jesus. There's got to be something to this. Maybe he really was real, because there's so many Satanists out there that hate him. You like Trump? I love Trump, dude. I freaking love Trump. Trump's the best president. One of the best presidents we've ever had. The best president in my lifetime, for sure. Here we go. Let's go for this last story, and then I'll talk to chat. Okay. This story was when I was a little bit older. Okay, I was in my teens. I was in high school at the time, and this is when actually we moved to another house. I don't know if it's the house or what the deal is, but so this was actually a pretty nice house that we had. We don't live there anymore. The house got sold. We must have been living there a few months, and I like to sleep in on the weekends. Okay, so a lot of times I would sleep in, and my family, they like to go do stuff, so they all went to go do stuff, and they let me sleep in or whatever. So anyway, this is one of those times when I was sleeping in, as I love to do. I don't really get to sleep in as much anymore because now I'm a dad now, so I don't get much sleep these days anymore. But when I get the chance, I love to sleep in. Anyway, one of these times I was sleeping in, and I hear this sound coming from downstairs. It was a 2-story house, and it was, I didn't know what the sound was. It sounded like a clinking sound or something downstairs. And I was like, no one was home, no one was home. So I was like, what's going on? So I was like, what the hell is that? Whatever. I went back to sleep. I hear it again, this clinking sound. Clink, 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 clink. I was like, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? I was like, what, dude, I just want to sleep. Let me go figure out what this is. Maybe it was something in the kitchen, I could tell. So I went downstairs into the kitchen. And you know what I saw? You know what was making that clinking noise? I looked, first of all, no one was around. I checked the whole house. I was like, what, is someone here? Maybe it was the cat or something. I don't know. So I hear I hear the clinking sound going on. So when the clinking sound's going on, I go into the kitchen as the clinking sound's going on. And I'm like, what the hell? I hear the clinking sound. I look into the sink. That's where the clinking's coming from. You know what I see? I see a cup. It's a glass cup. And it's just sitting there. And it's rolling. It's going clink, 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 clink. Rolling. Clink, 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 clink. Rolls. And it's just rolling. Back and forth. Back and forth. And I'm like, that's weird. Did someone leave? It's got to stop rolling back and forth eventually. So I just sat there looking at it. And I just kept rolling back and forth. Clink, clink, clink. Clink, clink, clink. Clink, clink, clink. And it just kept rolling back and forth on its own. And this was before people had video cameras. So, back then, these things with video cameras, this is fairly new. Like, when I... no, if I'm seeing my age again. I'm in my 30s. So when I was a teenager, people didn't have videos on their phones. That wasn't such a common thing. So my first instinct now would be like, oh shit, I gotta go record this, go get a video camera, But this was before that. So I was just looking in the moment, just experiencing this thing happening. And the cup is just moving back and forth. Again, I wasn't scared. I was just perplexed, confused, intrigued. And then I was like, I wonder what happened if I touch it, So I touched the glass, and then I stopped it. I physically stopped it, and then it stopped, and then it didn't continue to do that. But it was so weird, it couldn't have been after where someone moved it and it was going like this, because after a while it would stop. It had this weird pattern where it moved. It would go roll slowly, clink, 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 stop, and then it kind of stopped. And I went clink, 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 stop. Clink, 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 stop. It was so weird. Anyway, I told my parents about it, and they're like, oh, that's weird. I don't know. And apparently later we found out that house, because this was a new built house. We were the first people that lived in that house. So I was like, it can't be haunted. But we found out later that house was built on top of an Indian burial ground. So maybe that had something to do with it. But anyway, that's 4 stories, guys. I've always wanted to say those stories so I finally, it feels good to actually say those. I haven't really told many people those stories. What does chat say? Sorry, let's see what's going on. Let's go. It's so weird. Let's go. Yeah. No, it wasn't. That was the movie Poltergeist. I've never seen that movie. Nothing to do with it. There's no evidence for the supernatural. I'm not saying it was super. I mean, it was supernatural. This was paranormal because this was not a normal event. Cups don't just move on their own like that. Okay? I'm not saying it's ghosts. I don't know what it was. But, I mean, it could have been anything to do with magnets or something. This was a glass. Clink, just moving back and forth by itself. And this happened multiple times. So many times that I was sleeping. It woke me up multiple times. I had to go downstairs to see what the hell that clinking sound was. I could hear it all the way upstairs. It was that loud. And it was so weird, man. So weird. Like, these stories, not even really... They weren't, I wouldn't say scary. They were like weird and intriguing. But what do you guys think about these stories? Those that have actually here listening to all four of them. How old were you? What a lame thing to do for a ghost. Well, what am I supposed to do? What did you expect me to do? Video cameras were not a thing back then. I think the lamer thing would be if I lost my cool, got scared, and ran away or something. I was intrigued. I was actually investigating the situation. How old were you? Can your memories be skewed? Could it have been an earthquake? It was non-earthquake. Definitely non-earthquake. Movie producer, yeah. You know what? Robin, let me tell you something. This is just the beginning of my stories. Next time, I'm going to tell you some real Hollywood stories that happened to me. Because I've been a background actor for about 5 years. So I have some very cool, very funny, all kinds of great Hollywood stories. So, like, next time, I'm going to do Hollywood. I may even do a whole section, just Lame Duck's Hollywood stories, because I got so many Hollywood stories. Because when I was a background actor, I haven't been doing much background during COVID. But I've actually been doing other things, like real estate and other stuff. But I don't even think I'm going to go back to doing background full-time anymore. Like... I also do it for fun and for a little bit of side money, but like my days of doing it full time, there's not enough money in it. But I was on set, every day, at least 4 days a week. I'm probably on set 4 days a week for years. So I got so many stories. I have more on-set experience than most actors. Because most actors are not on set as much as I'm on set. They're out there rehearsing their lines or in acting classes and stuff. I got real on-set experience. I've met so many actors. All the actors I've ever wanted to meet, I've met. I've been on so many awesome shows and movies. You should be an IRL live streamer. Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. Good to see you, Ice Bloody Poop. Sets are boring. You know what? Sets are not boring. A lot of interest. That's why I liked being on set, because every day is different. You never know what's going to happen. There's so many awesome things. It beats a desk job, I'll tell you that. If you want to do something interesting, go work on set. You're going to meet interesting people. You're going to be on interesting shows. You're going to be doing interesting scenes and interesting situations. I mean, I could tell you guys some stories, but I kind of wanted to do that for a different on-set free food. Yeah, you get free food. I mean, I was getting gourmet food every day. Every day I was eating great. I was eating good on set, I'm eating like the actors, because I'm a union background actor. So I get treated pretty better than the non-union. And I have some interesting stories from when I was non-union too, but... so I get to do the cool stuff on set, the union stuff. $120 an hour? No, union get paid more. Maybe non-union get $120 an hour. Union, I think it's like $175 or something a day. What's the best set you've been on? The best set I've been on would probably be my favorite studio is Disney Studios. And I liked the best set. Oh, the best set that had the best food was when I was working on Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That, man, they were eating sushi, and they gave you sushi and lobster and steak for lunch. Like, honestly, all sets kind of do that. I'm tired of steak and lobster because all sets give it to you. I eat steak and lobster every day. But Always Sunny in Philadelphia was like that gourmet stuff. And like, it was cool because I actually got to meet, what's that short guy's name? I forgot his name. The guy that played he played the Penguin. He's that guy, that short guy. His name eludes me right now, but I met him on set. He was a very nice guy. I actually have a picture with him. And maybe I'll, when I do the next series of stories, the Hollywood set stories, I'll use that as like the thumbnail or something. Yeah, Danny DeVito. He was a very nice guy, but one thing I did notice about him, he looked kind of depressed. And that's actually a trend that I noticed with a lot of famous actors. They look, or even celebrities in general, they look kind of depressed. It's kind of sad to see. And he was like, hey, I was like, hey, Daddy. I was like, yo, you're Danny DeVito, man. What's up, man? He was just like, oh, hey, kid, how you doing? Yeah, it's me, I was like, yo, man. Yo, can I get a picture with you? He's like, sure, kid, come on. But I could tell he was just like, maybe he just had a bad day. I don't know, but he looked kind of depressed to me. Did you see Danny slid out of the couch? No. Show a picture? I will. I'll do it as a thumbnail for one of my future videos when I'm going to do a whole story about that. Because maybe I'll even show the clip. Because they actually showed me in the scene. And it's a pretty funny scene. So maybe I'll show the scene after the story and that. But I've been on a lot of shows, like in the background. If you might notice me on some of your favorite shows. Autopilot mode. I lost my shit on the couch scene. Well, my scene, it was, I'm trying to think because what episode it was. Something about like him eating a worm. He like ate a worm or something. I remember that. And it was in a bar. I was in the bar and I don't know. I'm going to have to, that'll be a story for another day. But the day I met Danny DeVito or something, the day I was working on Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I was on that new Fast and Furious movie. I was working on that. Man, I've been on so much awesome. I've met I mean, even before that, I was working with Jim Carrey. Oh, and I was working on Adam Sandler on Huey. I think it's called Huey Halloween or something. I remember. I think I did a live stream before I went on set that day. Fast and Furious. Yeah, they're doing a new Fast and Furious, and I'm actually in the background of a scene in that movie. And I don't want to talk about that story yet because that hasn't come out yet, so I don't think I can. But I can talk about the stories like after the movie or the show happens, then I can talk about it. But I lost my train of thought. But what was Jim Carrey? I work with Jim Carrey, man. So anyway, Adam Sandler, I was working on Huey Halloween. That was a fun, I actually talked to Adam Sandler for a minute. Just for a minute. He was just walking by to his trailer, and I was like, yo, Adam Sandler. I just wanted to talk to him so I could say I talked to him. I was like, I gotta make contact with Adam Sandler. I have to at least talk to him. I was like, yo, Adam, what's up? And he was like, he had like a mustache, and he just gave me this like funny smile, like, hey, it's me. And he walked into his trailer. It was funny. Burger Planet hates you. No, me and Burger Planet are cool. I was actually, I told Burger Planet to work on set. He never did. I told him to. I told him how to sign up. Everyone hates you. Ice Poseidon hates you. I hate Ice Poseidon, so who cares? Who cares what you think, Eric the actor? Are you even an actor, bro? I've probably been on set way more times than you, Eric the actor, okay? I'm a real freaking actor, okay? I was on that set life, dude. I was on set every day, every freaking day. And you know what? I'll return to being on set. I'm just waiting for this stupid mask mandate to be done because I don't want to be wearing a mask on set for 12 hours a day. Who would want to do that? But as soon as the pandemic is done, yeah, I'll go back on set and do some stuff, I mean, I worked so hard to get my SAG card. I might as well do it you know. But I'm not gonna do it full time anymore because there's just not enough money in it, you know. I like to be able to pick and choose my roles. Back then, I was just taking any role. I was being any show because I need the money. I was like, I'll do any show. I was on any show, you know. But now I can pick and choose the shows I want to be on. So, you know, central casting side of the game, yeah, central casting, man. But I have some services that book me. So I used to call in central casting. I don't. They call me. Okay, central casting calls me and say, "Hey, are you available for this?" You know, surprisingly, I get called a lot and I get booked a lot because I have I got a good look. What can I say? I have a good look. People like my look. I get booked. Not only do I get booked a lot, whenever I'm on set, they always pick me to be in the featured scene. They're like, "This guy, we want him in the scene. I like his look." But anyway, next stream, I'm gonna talk about maybe I'll talk about when I was on. There's 2 Hollywood stories I want to talk about next time. The first one was I was working on a show called Wicked City, and that's a very interesting story because I almost got in a car accident on set, and that's a very crazy story. That's a crazy story, and I can't believe they even let me drive. I don't know why they probably. And they didn't even give me a stunt bump for that. And then, oh man, I got so many good. I'm gonna have to write all the stories down, and then I got so many good stories. What's chat say? That's cool, man. Yoga ball hype. Yeah, yoga ball. I use it for exercise. My exercise ball. Trying to get back in shape. You went viral as a streamer one time. Yeah, me too. I'm glad I'm still alive too, dude. And hopefully next time I go viral for something better. Something better. You know. And SJC wannabe actor. You know what? SJC, he does background too. He's been on set. You know. John Lovitz, Annie. You know, I actually met John Lovitz. People call me John Lovitz Annie. They say I look like John Lovitz. I actually met John Lovitz in Beverly Hills one time. And this was actually before I started doing background full time. But I wanted to be an actor and I wanted to work on set. And I was with my grandfather. We were just leaving Nate. I'll just leave you guys with this last Hollywood story. We were just leaving Nate and Nels. And this was back when my grandparents still had their Beverly Hills house. So I was in Beverly Hills all the time. We just left Nate and Nels. And like I saw all kinds of celebrities in Beverly Hills, like Jack Black, you know, John Lovitz, Adam Sandler I've seen. But anyway, John Lovitz, he was just coming out of Nate and Nels. And he was getting into an elevator. And we were getting into an elevator. And this was actually right after I graduated Musician Institute. So they always said, you gotta have an elevator pitch. That's what they call it. If you're ever stuck in an elevator with someone that can help your career, you gotta be able to talk about what you can do in like 20, 30 seconds. They call it the elevator pitch. And I was like, oh my God, I can give my elevator pitch. I'm gonna be in an elevator with John Lovitz. But my grandfather was with me. You know what? He was just trying to help me out. So, but I graduated for sound engineering. And I didn't want to talk to John Lovitz about sound engineering because he doesn't know anything about sound engineering. So my grandfather was like, oh, my grandson, you know, John Lovitz, you know, my grandson, he's a very good sound engineer. You have any use for a sound engineer? Could he help you with any of that? And I was like, Grandpa, what are you doing? Talk to him about acting or something. He doesn't care about sound. I didn't tell him that. But John Lovitz was just like, oh, well, I don't know. You know, I own a comedy club, the Laugh Factory. You know, maybe he could help do sound over there. You know, I know this one sound guy. I'll give you his info. Maybe you could help do sound on set. And I was like, thanks, John Lovitz. You know, but I wanted to help me with my acting career or something. Or I could have done stand-up at his club. My grandfather kept pitching my sound. So it's like, you know, like he was just trying to help. You know, it's good. You know, it's kind of a funny story. My grandfather was just trying to help me out. But like, you don't talk about sound to John Lovitz. You talked about acting. And I did tell him, I was like, hey man, here's my cat, by the way. I'm like, hey man, you know what? I really liked you in The Simpsons as Artie Ziff. You're hilarious. And he's like, oh, thanks. You're like, he doesn't get that a million times a day. You know? Better background than SJC. Oh no, I'm a professional background. I'm a damn good background actor. You know, I mean, I've been doing it for 5 years. I'm a damn good background actor. What can I say? That's one of my great skills. I'm good at being in the background. You could play his son. Yeah, I know. I should have told him that. Bro, look out. Yeah, I see that. That little truck emoji. You know what? I actually thought of actually becoming a trucker. I was like, man, just drive all day and make money driving, you know? That would be funny if I just became a trucker. I got hit by a truck and then I'd become a trucker. Yeah, I notice you in anything. You know what? I'll give you one you could see. It's on Netflix. Here, you guys ever seen? This was the first time I ever did background. Okay, I'll leave you with one Hollywood story. This was the first time I ever, because I'm having so much fun with you guys. I'll tell you one story, one Hollywood story. The first time I ever did background was on set of a show called Documentary Now. And you know what was awesome about it was one of my favorite actors at the time was actually on the show. And his name eludes me. He's that guy from Portlandia. That's why I like doing these live streams, because Chad can help me out with the story, because I'm bad with names. What's that guy from Portlandia? You know who I'm talking about? Fred Armisen. That's his name. Fred Armisen. And this one guy from SNL, I forgot his name, but I know I forgot his name. And the guy that directed it was also from SNL, the director. I forgot his name too. But that's why I got to do these stories in advance so I can write down all the names so I don't forget. But anyway, this is good advertising for my Hollywood stories? I can't remember any of the names. I can't. How can you name drop if you forget their names? But anyway, you can actually go check this for yourself, this scene in Documentary Now. This was the first time I ever did background, and I was just like, this is freaking awesome. You know, I go on set, they told me to dress as a Mexican ranchero. I'm going to tell the story kind of quick because I only got 20% battery left. Well, let me see if I can connect this. I think I have a charger here. Yes, I do. Because this is a good story. I don't, this isn't the kind of story that you can totally rush. I mean, this is a good story. I like telling Hollywood stories. Okay. So I was working on, it was called hold on a second. I gotta connect this charger in. I was working on the set of Documentary Now, okay? Yeah, people are like in the chat, this is supposed to be a paranormal stories. Well, I'm done with paranormal stories and I have a Hollywood story I want to tell you now. Okay. Anyway, I was on set of Documentary Now. They told me to wear a Mexican cowboy hat. And you know what? I think I have a picture of this somewhere on my IG at Year of the Duck, like way down in the timeline. Anyway, so I my first day on set, and I go on set, and Fred Armisen, and what's his name? Bill Hader. Is that something? I think it was Bill Hader or something. He's a comedian. I just see Bill Hader walk out of the RV. I'm like, oh shit, that's that guy from SNL. I watch him on TV. He's walking by me. Like, what the hell? And then I see my cat's trying to paw at me. I see Fred Armisen walk by. I'm like, holy shit, Fred Armisen. I love his Portlandia. And I'm just like, oh my god. I was like starstruck because it was like my first time on a real TV set, you know? So I was just like completely starstruck. And now I'm trying to remember the name of the director because he was also on SNL with them. But you know which guy it is? There's this one clip of him making fun of Donald Trump, saying, ha ha ha, Donald Trump's never going to run and all this. Like, Donald Trump would be run as a joke or something. I forgot his name, but he's that guy that inspired Donald Trump to run. I can't remember his name. But anyway, so it was my first day on set. And I actually got I guess you're not supposed to do this, take selfies, but I took selfies with all kinds of actors and stuff. And we were in Crafty, and I was just like, oh my god, we get free food? Crafty? Like, I can get as much of this as I want? And they were like, yeah, man, Crafty, just get as much as you want. And I timed it perfectly so that, because I saw Fred Armisen going in line to get his food. And I was like, holy shit. Oh, I gotta go right next. I timed it so like right when Fred Armisen went to get his food, I went right next to him. So I was like, oh my god, I'm getting food right next to Fred Armisen. Oh my god, I didn't say anything yet. I didn't have the courage to say anything. I was like, dude, can I bother him? Can I talk to him? Anyway, after we get out of line, he starts talking to this old guy, and he's like, "Hey, man," some guy on set or some old man. He's like, "Hey, you want a selfie?" And the old man was like, "What's a selfie?" Or he's like, "Come on, like a selfie." So I saw him take a selfie with the old man. I was like, "You know what? This is my chance." "Hey, Fred," he's like, and he came over. He's like, he was very nice. He was actually, now that I think about it, he was probably one of the nicest celebrities I met on set. Was Fred Armisen. And that other guy, Bill Hader, they're both very nice. And he was like, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" I was like, "Yo, Fred Armisen, yo, can I take a selfie with you, man?" He was like, "Yeah, man, sure." And, we took a selfie. Like, he was so nice to the background. And so the scene that I was in, so you can look at it later, I think it was one of the first episodes they made. It was this guy named El Chingon. It was they were pretending they were like these Vice people, and they were going to document a guy named El Chingon. They're going to Mexico. Mexico was like a Mexican club in L.A. And they told us all to like pretend to be like dancing. Well, not pretend, we were dancing. So I was like doing this like Mexican dance. I had the cowboy hat on. And then they're like, "Okay, Fred Armisen and Bill Hader, they're gonna walk into the club, and you guys are gonna look at them and just look at them all weird, like, what are they doing here?" So, they walked by and we were just like, like, I don't know. I wasn't as good. I just started taking acting classes back then, so I was like, oh man, I can finally apply my acting. And I don't think I was a very good actor back then, but because I kind of tended to overact back then. But and it was cool because at one point they were we were like in this circle, like like a circle of us, and we were all dancing. And Fred Armisen and Bill Hader came in and started dancing with us in the circle. I was like, oh my god, I'm sitting here dancing in the scene with Bill Hader and Fred Armisen. Like, this is fucking awesome, man. People do this for a job, and that's when I decided I want to do this. Being background is awesome. This is what I want to do. That's my job, Anyway, so it was cool. Like, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. I'm just sitting here dancing with Fred Armisen and Bill Hader and getting paid for it. And then I don't know, it was kind of weird. I don't know if he was just making conversation or if he really thought this, because he was like, at the time I didn't realize, this is kind of a weird question, but he was like, "Where did you guys all come from? Like, you guys." He was talking to us background. He's like, "Where did they get you guys? Like, how were they able to put this scene together?" He was all like surprised. I was like, "Oh, it was for central casting." He was like, "Central casting? And looking back, I was like, how did he not know what central casting is? Like, did he just pretend he didn't know what central casting was? Or was he just trying to make conversation because he was trying to talk to these hot girls that were there, these girls that were there? So maybe he was just trying to make conversation with them. I don't know. And then, like I said, remember I told you I always get picked to be featured in the scene. And this, you can see this for yourself on this episode of Documentary Now. They're like, "Yo, this guy." And I was like, Who, me? The director was like, "Yeah, you. We're gonna need someone to play the bartender. Do you have any bartending experience?" I was like, "I actually do. I actually went to bartending class, and I have my bartender certificate." So it's not a lie. I didn't tell them I don't remember anything about the class, but I was like, yeah, I could do it. They're like, "Okay, perfect." And then so they put me behind the bar, and then the PA came, and he was like, and I was just like shocked. I was like, oh my god, this is happening so fast. All of a sudden, I'm gonna be in a scene. A improv scene with Bill Hader and Fred Armisen. What's going on right now? But I was keeping my cool. I was like, yeah, I could do it, no problem. Put me behind the bar. They gave me some cups and stuff, and they started filling it with water. They're like, here's an alcohol bottle, and they're like, we don't know what they're gonna do in the scene, so just kind of react to whatever they do. And I was like, at the time, I was taking acting classes at James Franco's acting school, the Meisner technique. And I was like, this is perfect. I can practice. It's my Meisner technique. This is great, man. So I was like, okay, I can totally do this. They put me behind the bar, Fred Armisen, and I looking back on it, I messed up. I should have done more. Because Bill Hader and Fred Armisen, all they do is they walked by, they walked by me and I was bartending, and I was hoping they would stop by at my bar, and they kind of did. They're like, ugh. They stopped by at the bar, and then they just kind of like walked by a few times, and thinking back as an actor, what I should have done to lead them over, because this is an improv scene, so I should have, maybe held up an alcohol bottle and be like, hey. Like implying like, you want a drink or something, and then they would have came down and I could have done a scene with them. But at the time, I was an inexperienced actor. Had never been on set before, so I was kind of timid. I was hoping they would come up to me and start a scene with me, and they didn't. They walked by. But if you look at that scene, I'm in it. Go to documentary now, go to the El Chingon episode, and you'll see me bartending, and I'm dancing in the background. But, looking back, I could have done more. If I could do it again, I'd try to draw them into the scene, be more animated. And because, that's what I think a lot of the stuff that they do, and I noticed that they did, it was improv. It wasn't like they memorized lines. They were just kind of like making up stuff as they go. That's how it seemed. But, anyway, that was like my first day on set. Like I said, I always get picked for the featured scene, so I have so many awesome stories. But hey, that was my first day on set. I was in a scene with Fred Armisen and Bill Hader, so that's not a bad first day, first day on the job, And there were a lot of people in the scene, like over 100, probably hundreds. Out of everybody, I got picked to be the bartender. You know what? Come to think of it, I may have actually been wearing this exact shirt. One of my tricks to get noticed on set, I wear something that's going to grab people's attention. Because, it grabs their attention. They want you in the scene because you look interesting. You have an interest. So I do something. I wear something that kind of makes me look interesting, that they're going to want to pick me, And I'll leave you with one last story. Oh, man. This was my first time on TV. This must have been like 2010. I was a big fan of Jimmy Kimmel Live. I just started going to Musician Institute. This was right when I started Musician Institute. I was going there for sound engineering at the time. But every day after I went to school there, because it was right on Hollywood Boulevard, right next to Musician Institute is the Jimmy Kimmel Show. So I would try to, and people back then, people would just line up. And you could line up to be in the audience, to be on the show. So I was like, oh man, I gotta try to do that, It was cool. I made friends with the security guards, and I'm actually still Facebook friends with one of them to this day. He's very cool, this guy Mark. But he was like, yeah man, hey, who knows, come on to the show. So I stood in line, I went into the Jimmy Kimmel Show, and before I went to the Jimmy Kimmel Show, I made a few stores down. I looked interesting. It was like a literal 7-Eleven uniform. I was like, oh, it looked funny just wearing it. I was like, this is cool. So I wore this to the audience, to the Jimmy Kimmel Show. And right before the show started, they came out and they're like, Jimmy was like, hey, you know what? I need somebody to do a skit. Anybody in the audience want to help me out with a skit for the show? And I was like, I was like, you know what? I got to take matters into my own hands. Let's do this. I was the first guy up with my hand up. I jumped up into the air, leapt. I was like, Jimmy, me. I want to be on. I made sure I was like I made sure I got his attention. And you know what? He picked me. He was like, that guy in the funny shirt. I want him. I was like, oh my God. And you know what's funny is I think I actually took an edible beforehand at the time, so I was just like kind of tripping out. I was like, oh my God, what's happening right now? I was on an edible that's just started to kick in. Suddenly Jimmy Kimmel wanted to be in a scene with him on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. I just came to Hollywood a week ago, and I'm already on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. I was like, what's going on right now, dude? So he picked me from the audience. So everything was just happening so fast. Like, they brought me backstage, and the lady made me sign all these papers and stuff, and she was like, all right, sign here. We're going to pay you like $500 for this. I was like, wait, you guys are going to pay me for this? She was like, yeah, we have to. It's the law, We're paying you $500 for doing this. I was like, okay. and I didn't have my glasses with me. They're like, okay, you're gonna be reading these cue cards. Don't worry, just you're good. I was like, oh fuck, I didn't tell her this because I didn't want to give her any reason to not use me. But I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't read what the cue card. The guy with the cue cards was all far away, so I was like, I could. So he put me. They were getting ready to film the scene. You know, they don't film that completely live. They film it, and then I don't know why they call it Jimmy Kimmel Live because it's not live. But hold on, let me make sure this is totally plugged in because I don't want the battery to die. This is a good story. Okay, it's plugged in. It's plugged in. So, dude. So I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, the edibles just kicked in. I'm on set. I'm on Jimmy Kimmel show right now. The camera guy comes in and they put the cue cards for me to read. I was like, I kind of went over the script a little bit in advance. They gave it to me, but I was like, oh my God. And it was a funny scene because they picked this African American girl to also be in the scene with me. And it was a commercial for TurboTax. She was like calling me up like, hey David, like, I'm not sure if I was supposed to be her boyfriend or something. Like, oh yeah, hi Sally, how you doing? Can you come out? I forgot exactly how the scene went, but it was like something like she wanted me to hang out with her or something. And I was like, I'm trying to remember how the scene went, but like at the end it had something to do with TurboTax. I was like, oh, I saved a bunch of money on TurboTax, Sally. And will you go out with me now? And she was like, no, David, I still won't go out with you. And I was like, darn it all, or something. And everybody loved the way I said darn it all. Like, I killed it. And I could bear, the problem is the way the scene came out, my eyes must have been red. And then I was trying to squint. Because I couldn't see. My eyes were already kind of like closed because the edible was kicking in. And then I couldn't see the cue card. So I was like trying to squint like, what the hell does that say? So I was all squinty. But you know what? I pulled it off. It was a funny skit. Everybody thought it was hilarious. And you know what? It was actually on YouTube for a while. And it got taken down. I don't know why they took it down. I haven't been able to find it. I wish there was some way I could get that footage because it was such a funny commercial. And even afterward, it was so cool because after the scene and everybody leaves and people like in the audience, they were like, yo, can we have your autograph? And I was sitting there, people they're taking their pictures with me and I was signing autographs on the steps of Jimmy Kimmel Live. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool, man. Like, that's when I caught the acting bug, you know. I was like, yo, I want to be in entertainment. This is cool, you know. I don't necessarily want to do that anymore. My priorities have changed, but at the time, like, that was... I was like, this is what I want to do, man. And it was cool. Like, even the security guard was like, you know, you were very funny. You know what? That's how I started it. Jimmy picked me to be in the show, and look at me. I'm a security guard here now, and, you know, I'm on the show all the time. I was like, oh, that's so cool, man. And, I don't know. I never got picked to be on the show again, but I still went a few times, and it was cool. It was just a very cool experience. That was my first time ever on TV. I actually got to be on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and I wish I could get that footage somehow. They took it down. I don't know why they took it down. I wonder if there's some way I can get it. But if I ever get on the Jimmy Kimmel show, I'll be like, yo, Jimmy, you know, remember me? You picked me from the audience years ago, and what happened? You took down my footage. Like, why'd you do that? But, I don't know. What does chat say? Yo, yo, yo. But, yeah, that's my cat over there. Kitty. You guys probably remember her from prior streams. But anyway, that's a taste of some of my Hollywood stories. I'm going to start doing more stories for you guys because I have so many good stories, and I have some good, funny, interesting content story-wise to tell. So that's a big cat. Yeah, she actually lost a lot of weight too. She used to be really fat, and now she's just a little not as fat as she was before. I'm starting to give her more of a high-protein diet, and I give her better food now. And I'm in an apartment that has stairs, so she runs up and down the stairs a lot, so she's getting more exercise. Oh, yeah, Jesus, I love Jesus. You know, but that's actually a reason why I'm just not as interested in the entertainment industry as I used to be, because there's a lot of Satanism and things, bad, you know, in order for you to actually be a top celebrity, let's just say I'm not willing to do what it would take to be a top celebrity. You know, those, you basically got to be down with cool stories, and they're fun to tell. But yeah, anyway, that's one of the reasons I'm not working in the entertainment industry full time anymore, and I'm focusing on I have more important priorities now, you know, and I'm just doing other things. But I'll still work on set sometimes, just for fun. But I'm glad I don't have to do it for a means of income anymore. All right, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.